How are you doing? I'm Kevin Guilford, and I'm doing my muscle group on the latissimus dorsi. When you think of the latissimus dorsi, you're thinking more or less of the muscle majority of those bodybuilders are looking to get from their back angle, of course, posteriorly. That perfect V shape that you look at, we think about, your bodybuilders, wrestlers, athletes. That V is what they're looking to get. That muscle that's connected from their spine all the way to the intertubercular groove of the humerus is the latissimus dorsi muscle. So let's go ahead and take a look at that right now. The origin is the posterior crest of the ilium, back of the sacrum, and the spinous process of the lumbar and lower six vertebrae, T6 to the T12, and also slips from the third lower rib. Insertion is the medial lip of the intertubercular groove of the humerus and just anterior to the insertion of the teres major. Muscle actions and joint movements consist of adduction of the glenohumeral joint, extension of the glenohumeral joint, internal rotation of the glenohumeral joint, as well as horizontal abduction of the glenohumeral joint. So when you think about how the muscle actually works, it is an everyday used muscle because it's adding adduction, extension, and inner rotation. You can pretty much use this muscle doing a lot of basic activities outside of working out, whether you're using it to lift heavy bags, walking up the stairs, pulling yourself, using a banister, opening a heavy door, things of that nature. You will pretty much be using your latissimus dorsi muscle as one of the muscles being used for your everyday activities. That's why they call it pretty much an everyday muscle, because you typically, whenever you're doing any type of extension like that and or abduction of sorts, using your glenohumeral joint, you're pretty much activating and they're using some part of that latissimus dorsi muscle. And again, it's considered an everyday muscle as it's used to incorporate many of the activities. Stretching the muscle. Now, what you can do is actually stand straight up, hand over head, and gently lean to one side. Also, from a kneeling position, you can sink your hips back and place your right forearm along the floor. Lean your weight onto your right arm and stretch your left arm, reaching out with your fingertips. You will feel a stretch along the side of your torso. Hold this for a few seconds, return to the starting position, and repeat about 10 times. When you're using that muscle, it's pretty simple. Just you can use that muscle with if you have a chair or using a chair. You can basically put your arms out on the chair here, sink your hips, and just kind of get a nice little stretch. In regards to turning your torso, you will feel along that side right here, the activation of those muscles being used. Um, Most other muscles you'll be using, of course, but for the most part, you will feel that latissimus dorsi being activated. When it comes to strengthening latissimus, lat pulls, single arm dumbbell rows are your one of many exercises you can use. A lot of people typically like going with the lat pulls. It's one of the more popular machines in the gym. You see them using all the time, doing the chin ups and they're going from behind, of course. or pulling it down using the ropes, if not the bars. So again, that's pretty much one of the hotter lat workouts in the gym, along with the single arm dumbbell row, which is showed right here in this picture with this man. As you see in the picture, he has alternating arm and leg being used. Back is straight, and from that point, he is lifting that dumbbell up. Common injuries of the latissimus will be the pitching shoulder. They call the pitching shoulder because anytime you really do use any type of excessive pulling and or throwing, will activate injury from the latissimus dorsi. Sports would include baseball, tennis, rowing, swimming, shoveling snow, reaching forward, overhead, and reaching forward and overhead repeatedly will also activate injuries for that muscle. Me personally, I hurt my latissimus dorsi, or just the belly of the muscle, working in the warehouse. And the reason why is because we will wash fruit crates. And the way the process would work was we'll take already washed fruit crates, we will take them off the machine, they come out the washer, and put them down to the pallets to be picked up by the forklift. And it is a numbers game if you work in the warehouse. So you have to do many of them and within the 7 hours. So for the most part, it is a repetitive motion over and over and over again without a proper stretch, which most warehouse workers don't do. You can activate some type of injury, which I did injure mine, which then to a sciatic nerve issue, which just a bad back issue at this point now. But for the most part, though, it did start because the fact of the matter is it was excessive overhead grabbing, lifting, and then putting it down into a pallet consistently over about 8.5 hour period of time. Tendon injuries are sometimes treated operatively. So if it's in a tendon closer to your spinal cord, then obviously those type of areas will be more likely to be operable. Not saying they all are, but that's what they typically operate on is those. Whereas the muscle belly typically aren't operable. There's a more non-operative measures, physical therapy, things of that nature that try to help you get back from those injuries. And again, if you ever pulled a muscle, tore a muscle, any type of thing of that nature, it is a strenuous process, a long process to recover from if you have injured any type of muscle, especially one that incorporates an everyday usage as your latissimus dorsi. Progressions are pretty simple. Depending on what you're trying to do, there's some different exercises you can use to build that muscle. To start off real easy, we start with a single arm row bench, like you see in the picture before of us doing the strength and latissimus. Maintain about 6 to 10 rep count. 10 reps is pretty good. Whenever we teach football, as far as our heavy days, our max days, 10 is the maximum rep. Anything above 10 will then increase your weight count going forward. So 10 is typically like the mark you want to be at on a heavy day. And again, doing the single arm row, 10, good enough on each arm as far as a rep count is concerned. If you're doing a light day, then obviously it's a little bit lighter from that point on, but 6 to 10 is perfect. And then from that point, for beginners, remember, intensity means more weight. So if you want to get bigger or stronger, then add more weight for the intensity of the workout. Going into a different workout would be a renegade row. A renegade row is what you see right here in the video, a little GIF here. I'm sorry. And the GIF right here is what you see her doing. Sorry. Which basically is a plank position. and alternating sides. So unlike you doing the single arm row, where there's one side doing a 6 to 10 rep count, which alternating sides with each rep going up and down. From that point, you can progress to pull-ups because again, with the renegade row, in the position, you are building your core. With that being said, pull-ups would be the ultimate core / body weight / Latissimus workout would be your pull-up. Regression would be the opposite. You can do your barbell rows. You can add weight to it, or for the most part, would you use actual bar itself? Use the bar itself, the 35-pound, 45-pound, depending on your regression of what you're trying to do or what you're trying to get at. If you are like myself who's injured, you can add much weight to it. Use the bar itself. It's about 35, 45 pounds. If you can, add some weight to it. Help yourself out. But for the most part, though, you use the bar itself and basically do your chin-ups with it and then exercise with that barbell itself. From that point, you can go ahead and go to a dumbbell pullover. Like see the video here. Again, using that bench as support, dumbbell behind your head, and obviously going over and above your chest. And last but not least, you can use resistance band work. Now with resistance band work, it's pretty much the baseline work you'd be able to do or you could do because obviously with the bands, they are different resistance based upon the size of the band or what kind of band you're using. The heavier bands you can use and put at the bottom of your feet, and you do more workouts with it, such as squats with it, overhead squats with it. You can do pull-ups with it, chin-ups with it. You do all kinds of things you can do with it as far as, not pull-ups, I'm sorry, but chin-ups with it, and bicep curls with it. With that workout, again, based upon your level of where you're at, you can do a lot of different workouts with those resistance bands. And that is pretty much it. Again, thank you, Professor Jackson, for the information. Also, verywellfit.com for some of the imagery, along with Muscle in Motion. And last but not least, manual from Structural Kinesiology, the book that we use to study from on a daily basis. And again, that is the Latissimus dorsi muscle, and normal everyday muscle that we pretty much use to live life. Because again, we're doing adduction and extension along with internal rotation as well. So opening every door, walking the banisters, picking up bags, slamming the door, whatever you're doing, pretty much you might be using the Latissimus dorsi muscle. Thank you very much for watching. I'm Kevin Guilford. Good night.